want the fans to have their seat. We want to score goals. We want to get momentum on our side. And then on the flip side is when we don't have the ball, we got to be dogs.
Luna floats one up, and Ibiaga goes to it. It may break down for Sarver. He's got the pin between his teeth, and it's a foot race. It's Sarver off to the races around Connie's got Sarver! Puts it to bed. Game, set, and match as FC Dallas move out in front 3-1.
Scenes in Frisco. Sammy Sarver with the third goal to secure FC Dallas's home win over Real Salt Lake. Welcome everyone to the Afterburn Soccer Show. We're live and got a lot to talk about. I got a lot of joyful. Another show where we get to be happy. We get to celebrate some good soccer, some fun results. And we're glad that you can join us. So, of course, you can follow us at afterburn.soccer. Thanks for watching. Send in your comments, your questions. Type them there in the chat on YouTube, and we will hit them as we go along in the show. Of course, I'm Nathan. You can follow me at Nathan J. Hill, at Afterburn Soccer. Buddy Jose there next to me at El Chico Carmona. We're holding a little placeholder spot just in case Mr. Colin Couvert shows up, but we'll see if that happens. And at the end, our buddy Chris Winters at C Wintus on X. Yeah, good to see you guys tonight. We get to be a little more jubilant because really both of our clubs pulled it out this weekend. FC Dallas, good home victory. We haven't had enough of those. And then North Texas Soccer Club going on the road, getting a big 2-0 win at Minnesota. We'll talk about that in a minute. Let's start with FC Dallas. 3-1 win over Real Salt Lake back in Frisco. We've been waiting for this. We've seen too many drop points at home. So let's just do reactions to this performance. Jose, we'll start with you.
This was an excellent performance around, and most importantly, it's a signature win. It's something that this team hadn't achieved so far this season. A win over a team, a highly thought of team, whether it's on the road or at home. This just felt like as good a win as you could possibly get. So I'm very excited about the result. And sorry, my throat's a little. But no, very excited. I'll say more as we go.
Oh, I thought you were chugging. I thought it was a celebratory chug. So I was like, whoa, okay. You're in a good mood. But I think you're right. I think this, was a marquee win. Was this against a playoff competitor, a very good Real Salt Lake side, maybe similar in some ways to FC Dallas, but a very, very good win at home. Chris, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think I share that same sentiment. Obviously very pleased with the performance. 3-1 win against a team that, to Jose's point, it felt like this was one of those games you needed to win. It kind of showcased, okay, where do you sit in the table of the Western Conference? Are you middle of the pack? Are we at the top? Like, where are we trying to find ourselves with our identity? And was very pleased with the performance. I think, it was interesting. Depending on where you looked, a lot of the stats had RSL with almost 3/4 of the possession at 75%, which was crazy. But Dallas had an XG of over 2, Real Salt Lake's 0.59. Quill just said, you know what, we don't need to possess the ball, but we're going to make the most out of all of our opportunities. And I think they really did that. They had I think maybe 11 shots or 9 shots on, total. And then I think 4 on goal. So that was huge for them. Held RSL to 2 shots on goal. Benjamin had one of his, again, another great performance by him. This was probably Kayik's best game of the season so far, which was awesome. There was really only a couple players who I think played, I don't want to say bad, but just didn't really shine on paper. Valiente might have been one. He just kind of wasn't super involved. Johansson, I think a lot of that was because of the way the ball was being progressed up the field. It was mainly on the side of Santi Moreno, Benjamin. But man, and I think the best way to kind of cap it off was the Sarver goal at the end. It just brought kind of all of this emotion and elation that we felt as fans. And yeah, I think it was just a huge win for Dallas, especially with, one more game at home until I think September. So you got to get all the points you can.
Yeah. Got to get all the points you have. Yeah. Bad hit that break. And of course we'll talk about tomorrow night, another big home match. But also, I just, going back to this marquee kind of thing, it's something I pointed to on the site, but just, FC Dallas has played well against good teams. Really unfortunate to lose in Los Angeles against LAFC side that was in good strong form then. You draw Nashville at home, San Diego. You have these results. You look back on and you wish Dallas had been a little bit better, a little bit sharper, or Seattle. I just But here we finally got it. We got that before. And yeah, it wasn't perfect. I think to your point, Chris, like the possession statistic, and I know it's not the way Quill wants to play. Quill's not worried about keeping possession, but gosh, in that second half, you sure would have loved for Dallas to just get on the ball and, ping it around a little bit, take some of the air out of the game. But boy, they just couldn't do it with the personnel. They just couldn't do it with the way RSL was pushing. And RSL's good. I mean, that Diego Luna goal, you give them a sliver of space. Dallas has been punished by those kind of goals before, but you can hardly fault really the defensive performance in this one.
And I just want to add, though, forget the stats. Forget what the stats tell you. The eye test said Dallas really controlled this match. RSL had all the possession, but they weren't doing anything with it. And to be honest, that goal by Luna was against the run of play. Honestly, if Shaq Moore doesn't sprint out and slide basically at the end, he doesn't draw our defense out of position so that RSL can basically hit us on the counter. And in all honesty, this should have been a 3-0 win. And honestly, I until Luna scored that goal against the run of play, I didn't really think the team was threatened by RSL. Nothing RSL was doing seemed threatening until that mistake happened. And honestly, then all of a sudden I'm like, okay, now RSL got a little bit of steam. And we've seen this team give up multiple goals in a short period of time. So that was really the only concern. It's like, oh my God, have they decided to play falsy for a couple of minutes down the stretch when they need to hold on? And thankfully that didn't happen. But no, I thought that goal was against the run of play, and I thought Dallas, forget the stats, they controlled this match.
And it's actually funny, Jose, because the stats actually back up with what you're saying. Obviously, in the aspect of they didn't control possession. RSL, I think, had double the amount of touches in FC Dallas's own box. However, if you look at the shot chart, they had 2 shots inside the box, one of which was the goal, like Jose's saying, against the run of play. Just, kind of one of those things, like it was just a good shot, good play from them. But FC Dallas, on the other hand, almost all of their shots are inside the box. Granted, they had 4 on target, but RSL just didn't ever feel like they were really a threat. And I think to Jose's point is, possession can be great, but if you don't do anything with it, you can have the ball all you want. If we're going to shoot more, that's all that matters.
Yeah, yeah, good point. I mean, I think Santiago Moreno's opening goal, which is what we wanted to see from him, a player of his caliber, and something a little bit farther out. It wasn't Musa's night. Musa just couldn't. I mean, I think credit to RSL, they really swarmed him, but also just couldn't quite, get the finish he wanted. Musa couldn't. Yeah, but so much to like from this one. So much to like about the way the team got it done and found a way at home. I mean, really, when the Luna goal happened, I did begin to doubt. My son sitting next to me is like, "Dad, uh-oh." And I said, "Yeah," because that sense of the shifting is what we've seen has done Dallas bad in the past. As Dallas is up 2-0, they seem content to just kind of pack it in a little bit. That goal gives RSL some life, and we've seen that script before where Dallas then makes that mistake. But they didn't. They stayed focused, and they found that counterattack goal from Sam Sarver, which it's such a gift. Such a gift to have a player like that who can do something special when you need it.
I just want to add, I picked a draw last week, 1-1, and as the week progressed, I started thinking to myself, you know, the only way Dallas gets to win is if our 10 matches their 10, or I'll place them preferably. And I'm talking about Moreno. We needed a big game. Everyone knew Luna was the guy over there, but and everyone of course knows Musa is the guy over here. But I was thinking, man, if Moreno can have a good game and can match what Luna is doing, then Dallas can win. And but I said I didn't think about that until the game approached. I wish I would have thought about it earlier. So I myself am very happy that Moreno had his goal and looked good doing it. And mind you, the way he scored, we've seen him make that move before. He is the first time he's pulled it off, but that way, that's his cut and shooting between the players. He's tried that before, and been close. So that's something to watch. That could be a signature move of his that he just needs to. We'll see more of.
Mm-hmm.
Some players, have their preferred shooting styles, and I've seen that before. So I'm very happy, and I'm also happy that even though Musa and Moreno were pulled early, we got a big midweek game. So they Quill he had to do that. He had to do that. I know. Musa was upset, but that's because he could see a third goal coming. He's a scorer. He could tell there was another goal to be had, and as a goal scorer, of course he's going to be upset because he's like, that's my future goal there. So
Mm-hmm.
I want our top threat to be upset if he's pulled out of a game that, even if we're winning or losing, because that's the mentality they got to have. That hey, if I would just had another minute, I'm going to score it, and you like to see it.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm sure these guys like Musa, like Johansson, they're feeling the pressure of the World Cup and wanting to make that final
Push. Yeah.
push, the case to be in the best form they can going into the World Cup, because I know that makes a difference when these team selections in the beginning to happen. I saw that Johansson is as a sort of a sub player right now. He's a reserve for the Swedish now, so he will go and train with them, and if there's an injury, which happens, he'll probably get the call up. But
Yeah, but he's not a member of the squad though. He's more like a in case off, right?
right, in case of right, he's a reserve, so he's a backup kind of player that they can bring in if someone gets injured. But we'll see. So I'm sure that's on Musa's mind as well, and I know he felt the goal was out there for him, and if given enough time, there he would have found that goal.
Musa did get an assist. Credit to him on that shot that
Yeah.
rebounded to Kaik.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't. He didn't walk out empty-handed. That is.
Yeah, Kaike, I love that he got the goal. He had the one waved off, a few weeks back that was really disappointing. So glad he was able to get the makeup call, and just even as rumors are swirling that Chelsea Real Betis are looking at him, are tracking him as a potential future signing. Good showing for the youngster. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you saw me praise him at the end of the last episode of the podcast, and I myself am thrilled that he did what he did. I mean, I've been watching him do that all this season, playing much higher, leading, causing quick turnovers, then pushing forward, not pushing it back. He's been just he's just a completely different player, and I know a lot of us were questioning if the team paid way too much for this kid, and I'm sorry to say, no. I mean, if European clubs are keeping an eye on him, then you got to give credit is due. I mean, we were all scratching our head, about this kid when he was signed, but he's 20 years old, and to have big clubs, keeping an eye on him, my guess is they were there before. It's just now, you know, probably agent speak, but it's still nice to show that maybe this team is getting the hang of it. I'm very happy with all the additions they've made to this team this year. They've all been productive additions. Moreno, you're talking about Benjamin. Uh, you got a backup keeper. I mean, everyone that they've added, Johansson, they've been productive, and that's what you want to see from your additions.
Yeah, we'll talk about match predictions. A big week ahead. The news did break today, and I grabbed a quick screenshot here. The salaries, the Players Association listed the salaries. A nice little database you can search there. You can search up Dallas, and it'll show you salaries of everybody on the FC Dallas roster. Some good information there. I mean, Musa obviously leads with 2.8 million total kind of compensation for the designated player, and then you can see why Santiago Moreno kind of fall into that designated player setup there. And then from then on, no major surprises. We knew Shaq Moore was on a upper high TAM player. Anderson Julio as well. I think his contract does end at the end of the year, so as well as Ibiaga. But a few question marks there. I mean, I think it's interesting to see, how much this team has sunk into Giovanni de Jesus and have barely seen the guy, for that investment. That's just unfortunate. It's injuries, but and of course, as you could say, as Abubakar really worth $500,000. And you could say maybe Herman Johansson is not worth that price, that cost. I don't know, but but when you compare it to sort of like a Valiente, who's quite a bargain in my opinion, it's so interesting numbers to look at.
I mean, I don't have a problem with what Johansson's making. I mean, the guys that draw my eye are, Julio, Dietzen, Abubakar, of course, we already mentioned, and these are players that you're like, you're paying decent amount for and you're not getting what you're paying for. Let's put it that way on those guys. You could throw Ibiaga on there. You can see where this team can make some improvements simply by getting rid of certain players, and really, you've got two U21 guys that are not initiative guys, that are U22 initiative guys that are not doing anything for this club, and either they need to be sold or they need to buy one of those two guys out. De Jesus and Giovanni De Jesus and of course Enisali. So, but I think you can clearly see where this team can make improvements pretty fast.
Yeah. Yeah, no major surprises there. I mean, I think if you look at other teams, you do find some surprises. Of course, Sporting Kansas City at the bottom. Philadelphia Union also at the bottom. I mean, if you love Moneyball, like, you got to be a Philly fan, right? With what they do with homegrown players and.
But let me tell you something though. Philadelphia is just doing what FC Dallas did. What they're now finding out is what FC Dallas found out is your academy. Your talent goes in cycles, and once you cycle through all that talent, then all of a sudden your academy isn't good enough to carry you through this. And FC Dallas had to find that out the hard way. Now we have a lot of the homegrowns aren't really signed to homegrowns. They're being signed to hybrids contracts, spending a year or two with North Texas before they ever, you know, and it's very hard when you have a drop in the talent in your academy to rely on the academy to be, as Philadelphia Union is doing now. But like I said, they're basically going through the same thing that FC Dallas did once they sold everybody. Once Pepe was gone, and everyone from those awesome academy squads is pretty much gone. And now Philadelphia is going through that. They've done sold most of their best academy players, and guess what? I'm sorry, but you have to spend money to compete in MLS. And the problem is, like FC Dallas found out, and Philadelphia Union is now starting to find out, is the league has improved, and they've been at making enough changes that it's becoming harder and harder to rely on an academy first approach like FC Dallas once did.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah. Good point. I mean, and Philly's still okay. I mean, I think they're nowhere as bad as Sporting Kansas City, which really feels like a complete tear down to the.
But there's a drop off in their talent, and before Dallas, that was just New York Red Bull, I think, had the top academy, and they went through the same thing. Then Dallas went through the same thing, and now Philadelphia is going through the same thing. So it's just very tough. The academies are good, but the talent isn't always top tier. Like I said, if they could expand their recruiting, if MLS would allow it, then you could maintain it. But yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I'm half tempted with the Sporting Kansas City situation. Just imagine, like, playing the GM for them and who they would go get, and they should come get. I mean, why not go get a guy like Dietzen? Why not say, hey, we'll give you a draft pick, we'll take him off your hands, would help a team that's struggling.
One of the guys that covered DC United back in when they had that horrible team, was it 2013, I think, and he was saying that this team is worse than that. He was there was I forgot which commentator it was, but he was saying, man, he's like, I was on that DC United beat back in 2013, and that was miserable. He says, but this squad here is like historically bad.
Mm-hmm.
So wow, I mean, I feel bad for them, but they need a lot of help.
Yeah,
I mean, they need to bring in multiple players, and that's just to be competitive.
Right. No, that's well. Let's go and jump over to North Texas. We're not going to talk Sporting Kansas City on here. That's but North Texas SC. We have been a little bit down about this team. They've been sorting things out. We did not predict. I don't think any of us predict. I think I maybe said, "Oh, it's going to be a draw." It's, that North Texas. This team has talent. They're going to find a way.
I think we were all down on the club.
Yeah, but 2-0 at Minnesota United. I don't think we really predicted this. A clean sheet for Montoya in goal. Great for him, his first as his professional career. Ricky Luis, preseason phenom, got his first goal. And I'm blanking on who got the other goal. Off the top of my head, it was right there. But good overall.
Newman got the other one. Sorry.
Who did?
Enzo Newman.
Enzo Newman. Yeah, and I of course tweeted about that because he, coming off injury, he's been working his way back, and he hasn't been at his best yet. I think that's fair to say. He's had a couple shaky games. So really nice to see both of those guys. which kind of underscores the problem of this team is just that there's some missing pieces. There's a lot of youth, so when you have some guys with talent come in, they're able to sort of just help this team create opportunities. Chris, we'll start with you. What do you think about this big away win for North Texas?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, super happy with the showing. I felt like, this was another game very similar to FC Dallas. North Texas outpossessed. Although this time Minnesota got, I think, 15 total shots. North Texas had, I think, about 4. Interesting tidbit, though, North Texas had 3 shots on goal and Minnesota only had 2. So, all things considered, I think it was a good showing from the team. Montoya got the clean sheet, albeit against 2 saves, but, still that stuff builds confidence in young goalkeepers, especially one that, FC Dallas has invested a lot into. I think the biggest takeaway for me is Nice is the catalyst for this team and this offense. The break started on that first goal, got it over to Garcia, and was able to get the ball into Newman. And then the other one is the free kick ends up finding its way to Ricky Luis, and then he ends up scoring. So it just really seems to be when he's playing well, this team plays good. And I don't think that's sustainable, unfortunately. I wish, we saw a little bit of that with last year with Sam Sarver. It was the games that he played really well, we did really well, and the games that teams kind of, locked him off a bit and did great shutting him down, we kind of struggled. So I think, my unfortunate one little downer, don't want to be too negative on them because they did win. The midfield is still kind of frustrating to me. Timmy Ospina gets the red card. He just hasn't looked great all season. I believe he's 23. So, it just hasn't been something that I've been overly excited about. Swan would be so good for North Texas, but I want him to be with FC Dallas. So it's like we're just constantly torn. We want these young kids to be with the first team. And then Natty James, I think a little bit. I think he's still kind of a little hot and cold with this team. When he plays well, team plays well. And a lot of times, though, unfortunately, he just doesn't have the best game. And, it kind of shows. So don't want to take away too much from it, though. They got a 2-0 win. We all doubted them. They won. Happy for Gall. Happy for this team. They just need to figure out a way to sustain this moving forward. I think that's my biggest takeaways. Just needs to be sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
So my big thing was, I remember last week I complained about their backline pairing. They're like, hey, they just can't seem to find anybody to pair with our best defender. And when I saw the lineup, I saw that Charles was playing, and he was playing. He was listed as a defensive mid, but come on, it was 3 in the back, and Charles basically playing the back, and actually that gave me hope. He's an excellent defender. He surprised he hasn't gotten more minutes with North Texas, and that got me excited about the possibility of this team doing well, because I don't know how many games Charles has played, but he's more of a center back than a midfielder, right? Are they transitioning him to a midfielder? He's played multiple positions, I think.
Yeah, he's a defender.
He's primarily a defender, Jose. Like, I think they're experimenting with him a little bit, but he's a defender.
Yeah. So basically our back 3 was Starnes, Charles, and Alvaro. And I'm telling you, I saw that lineup, and I'm like, yeah, that could actually work. So I didn't really get excited about that match until I saw that Charles was playing, and everybody else that was playing. Newman is finally getting up. He's not there, but he's starting to show that he's improved. Torquato. I mean, this was a solid starting lineup out there. The only guy that I honestly had questions about was Montoya, because he hadn't really shown me anything that. So it was good to see him get that clean sheet, and of course Alvaro, because I think he has fallen off. But that aside, I was pretty happy with everybody else on there. Yeah, I do agree. Some players are underperforming for North Texas, and they need to correct that. Specifically, Ospina and Garcia, I think, are two players that we should be getting more out of than what they're giving. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, this is, I mean, from the Minnesota fan perspective of, like, 15 shots, you don't score. It's like it's a rage quit if you're playing a video game. You're like, come on. That's soccer, though. Sometimes it's not about the quantity; it's the quality, and it's the, can you get the bounce? Can you just fight through it? And so, for North Texas to be that efficient on their opportunities, it's good. It's good, and a boost. I mean, I think they needed this boost of confidence going into this week.
And you can't blame them for being upset because they, being in North Texas twice and the backline, 15 shots against the previous backlines that North Texas rolled out would have netted a goal or two. So that's what I'm saying. It's very important to get that back line squared away, and I'd like to see these three guys rolled out again so they could get some more cohesion. And we got a 2-game homestand. Would be nice to see a little consistency from this squad.
That's right. Yeah. Speaking of which, I mean, that's let's move into our match predictions. Of course, for North Texas, they'll be back at home this weekend on Saturday, taking on Sporting Kansas City 2, their third matchup with them, and they've split them so far. But really, this should be a home win. I mean, that's why I think they can bank some of that confidence and come just get this job done at home against a team that they should beat. We're kind of shocked last time they played at home against them after the way they handled them on the road. That's I think that this will be one to watch just for that sort of mentality that this team can bring. So, I'm going 2-1 win at home. I think still some lessons to be learned for this team, but I think they get a second win in a row. Predictions?
Yeah, I'm gonna go similarly. I'm gonna go 3-1 win at home. I do want to give a little bit of credit to Sporting Kansas City. I think they are overplaying maybe their expectations. They do have 2 wins in their last 5 games, albeit it is against Vancouver and Colorado, which are 2 of the worst teams in the Western Conference aside from them. So, but I mean, they gave us a good showing in the last game against, North Texas at home. I think they'll find a way to get one, but ultimately I think this is one of those kind of games, hopefully, that North Texas is going to be using to continue to build the confidence and just get as many points as you can to climb the standings.
Right.
I'm going to go 4-0.
Absolutely.
Look, this is an unbalanced schedule. Sporting is bad, and they've actually had 8 home games. 8 home games. North Texas is playing only their 4th home game. And they haven't been allowed to basically build any rhythm at home because they've been mostly playing on the road with an occasional home game. I think they go out there and I think they crush Sporting Kansas City. Sporting Kansas City is not a good team. They're not. And if they're in the game, it's not because they're a good team. It's because North Texas is not playing up to their potential. North Texas against Sporting Kansas City, this is a mismatch at home. I expect them to win big. 4-0. I wouldn't be surprised with a 4-1. But Sporting Kansas City's defense is god awful. They're the worst defense in the league by far, and it's not even close. I think they've given up like 6 more goals than anybody else. So this should be. I would be disappointed if they don't put up at least 3 goals. North Texas, that is.
All right. Well, we got a double game week now. So we're predicting wins for North Texas, everywhere from a beat out to a close, solid home win. But we got a double game week before the break for FC Dallas. First, again at home against Vancouver, who looked good. look like as good as they were last year. Maybe not quite as good as last year. I think they've had some injuries that they've been dealing with, but a very good team can pull out those late draws. They can play you off the field if you let them. They'll be traveling down here to Frisco on Wednesday tomorrow night, and then Dallas will go on the road up here to Northern California, play the San Jose Earthquakes, who I saw like they're probably their best player. Sakiris is out for 3 to 4 months after surgery. That's good news for FC Dallas, but San Jose, they look like the best team in MLS right now. So
Well, yes, but you forget that they're getting Mueller back from injury.
Okay.
He didn't play against San Jose. He'll
or
be
or
available.
for Vancouver. Okay, all right.
Yeah, for Vancouver. So I'm just saying he didn't play against San Jose, and he'll be available against FC Dallas, and he's the guy I'd be the most worried about. I mean, God, I wish he would have missed this game too.
Yeah. Well, Sakiris plays at San Jose. I mean, he's that next. Looks like the next U.S. midfielder that's going to go to Europe. I mean, the kid has been so good. Bruce Arena working his magic. Wow, and to get that team to look so good. But a team that, hey, Dallas has, you have nothing to lose by going in. So let's do our predictions for this one. First of all, home game, Vancouver in Frisco. Ooh, after their home game against RSL, I'm going similar. I think this is going to be a similar kind of match. I think Vancouver's going to have possession, but I think Dallas has some confidence right now. The key question for me is still just how Quill rotates his guys. It really does seem like a roll of the dice right now. Like, is Valiente going to be on? Is Benjamin going to have a game? Is Delgado going to be kind of have a game? Because he can have a game. Like what's the mix of guys that you're going to do? And now with 2 goals in 2 games for Sam Sarver, does Quill say, hey, let's start Sarver as a wing back and just let him run? So a lot of those questions certainly going to be swirling around as game time comes tomorrow. But I think I'm thinking a 2-1 win at home for FC Dallas. I don't know. 2-1's a very soccer generic scoreline, but it feels like Vancouver's going to make it a really good game. But I think Dallas is going to find that little bit of home cooking that gets them over the edge.
I'm going to go with 1-0, and honestly, I don't really expect any rotation. This is a must-win match at home before you go on that hellacious road campaign, like 9-match road campaign. You got to get 3 points from this match. So I would say no, I don't expect them. I expect them to roll out the same starting lineup, unless somebody's got something nagging them and they need to be replaced because of that. I expect the same lineup. I know you got San Jose on the weekend, but that's on the road in a match that, frankly, a lot of people won't expect you to win. So I wouldn't be shocked if they roll out the same starting lineup for this match, go for it against Vancouver, trying to get all 3, and then we'll see serious rotation against San Jose.
All right.
I wish I was as optimistic as you both, because right now, unfortunately, I'm going 2-1 loss. I truly think Vancouver is the best team, at least in the Western Conference. Obviously, San Jose and them are both 1A, 1B in a lot of people's eyes. I will say, though, it is a short week for both teams, having played Saturday, then playing Wednesday. Then both teams have to then turn around and play again on Saturday. There's going to be quite a bit of rotation. Potentially from Vancouver's side, there can be some chaos. I would like to say, though, unfortunately, I think this is just going to be one of those games that just doesn't go our way. I think we end up losing 2-1. But little teaser, I think it's going to get better against San Jose.
All right. Okay. Well, and that's where we go. San Jose. I mean, this is a tough week. First is facing down the first and second place team, but this is the week you make a statement. FC Dallas. If you say, hey, and what's wild about the standings, although things fluctuate, but if Dallas gets a win Wednesday night, they could theoretically be third. They could jump ahead of the pack and be third place in the Western Conference, which
Well, the most
you know,
important thing is a win against Vancouver brings Vancouver down to back to the pack, because right now San Jose and Vancouver are threatening to pull away from everybody else. It's going to be everybody else battling for for the third spot. But if FC Dallas can get a win, it drops Vancouver back into the pack, uh, and leaves San Jose as the only threat to really run away. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the match. I team just got a signature win, but Vancouver victory would be an even bigger signature win. I don't think I think some people can dismiss the victory against RSL because their backline wasn't full strength, and I think I'm just saying I think people could hold that. The experts could hold that against FC Dallas, but a win against Vancouver midweek after a win against RSL, I think this is a win for FC Dallas that legitimizes them as, hey, maybe there's something cooking over there in the DFW.
well, let's do San Jose. I mean, I think this will be a loss. I think it's going to be a tough ask, even though I think Dallas is going to play. I mean, Osaze, especially in this last game, Osaze was so good. I think he could be a real presence. He could have a feast day kind of game against San Jose, but just the way San Jose gets out there and they're so well drilled, and the patterns and they're in form right now. I mean, only one loss on the season. Yeah. So I don't know that Dallas is going to give them their second, but we can dream. So I'm going to go 2-1 loss on the road for FC Dallas against San Jose.
I'm also going 2-1, but I think FC Dallas will go all out against Vancouver, and then we'll see a similar rotation to what we saw against Seattle. The difference is this time, unlike the Seattle match, is you'll actually have Musa and Farrington available to come off the bench should you keep that match close, which I think they will. Um, so I'm picking 2-1, but I wouldn't be shocked if FC Dallas, with a rotated squad, manages to pull out a draw against them. Similar tactic to the Seattle match, but like I said, better scoring options down the stretch, options they didn't have against Seattle.
So this is the one I think, at a minimum, I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw. I believe it's another short week for San Jose, so they had a game Saturday. They play Seattle in Seattle on Wednesday, and then they travel back home to play against San Jose, or to play against FC Dallas. Adds a little bit of chaos, a little bit of rotation potentially. I thought Dallas has looked great on the road this season. The LAFC game, even though it was a loss, I still thought that was one of the best games I had seen from them on the road. They've picked up a couple wins.
They were the better team. They were the better team in that match. They lost on a goal that came against the run of play.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where I feel good about them on the road. I feel less confident with the current home renovations going on, them winning at home, than I do on the road. And I think that's why it's at a minimum draw. I could see a win, 2-1, but I'll just be safe. I'll go 1-1. Don't get ahead of myself. And then, one last little tidbit. Jose was mentioning it was like 9 games, I think, until the next home game after this one on Wednesday. But I mapped it out. It's 115 days away from home. So that'll be a very long road stretch of games and just time away from Dallas. So need all the points we can.
I just want to add, since you brought it up, about all the traveling that San Jose is doing, is Vancouver's doing a bit of traveling, and that's honestly why I picked them to lose. They played after their game started, after the Dallas game was finished, and they were on the road to San Jose, and now they got to fly and play in Frisco. Mind you, this is their third road game in a row They're coming off back-to-back draws, and they have more road games coming. I think they got like 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, they're on a massive. They're pretty much on a similar 9-game road stretch like we are. We're about to enter, I should say, but they're already actually in the middle of it. I don't know why, but they are traveling a lot, and I think that's going to take a toll on Vancouver. And I suspect we won't get the best version of Vancouver. That's just me and hopeful. Like I said, I'm still expecting a hard-fought 1-0 win. It won't be pretty, but a win is a win is a win.
That's right. Well, good stuff. I think we're going to leave it there. Appreciate you all. Of course, appreciate all our viewers. Thanks for watching and listening in. And of course, you can find our podcast. We can, switched over to a new system here, so keep tweaking some things, trying to get the audio levels right. So appreciate your patience with us. And yeah, it's going to be an interesting summer. So let's enjoy these couple of matches ahead before the big road, trip begins, and of course before the World Cup begins. We'll have a lot to talk about. All right, appreciate it, Chris. Jose, have a great evening.
All right, guys.
All right,
Good night.
Good night.
Yeah, everyone.